To my left, as always, it is Mike the Squid. How are you, Mikey?
Pretty good, Stu. How are you?
So, how did your NASCAR guys do today?
Not so good.
What happened? Waltrip got crashed.
Twice. Junior's car just wasn't handling well. It was just sort of awful.
Well, this is kind of a momentous night for you. This is your last night in Hartford.
Yes.
You've been with us all summer, and you're heading back to Charlotte this coming week. You're heading back down to go back to NASCAR school.
I am.
And I bet you just can't wait to get your young ass out of town, huh?
Pretty excited.
Next Friday, when you're in Charlotte, the Chris Duarte group is going to be playing at the Double Door down in Charlotte.
That's right.
Let's just open up this mic and say hello to Chris Duarte. Hey, Chris.
Hello, Stu. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It is so good to see you. Glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
We're going to be talking to Chris a little later. They're setting up their drums and their bass and their guitars. Sunday Night Blues is brought to you in part by megablues.com.
This weekend, give the rock you...
Yeah, it's The Rock, 106.9 WCCC. And did you notice the theme in there? That was Janice, Turtle Blues. Before that, Johnny Winter, Johnny Guitar, and Chris Duarte, title track from his new one called Romp. They're all from Texas. Even I got it. I knew you got it. Hey, it's Beef Stew with you, 525 WCCC. Coming up before 7 o'clock, I've got a new feature called Backyard Blues, where we're going to play something from a local band. Also before 7, I'm going to tell you how to win those tickets for Eric Sardinas next Friday night at Black Eyed Sally's. It was one day back in 1985. Chris Duarte was filling out a loan application, and the bank's loan officer, Paul Babb, recognized him. Paul was a bass player and asked Chris if he would like to jam sometime. Paul knew a drummer. They got together. They started playing some jazz, R&B covers, and soon they brought in a keyboard player and became known as the Bad Boys. 10 years later, in 1995, on the heels of his first album, Texas Sugar Strat Magic, Chris Duarte was named Best New Talent by Guitar Player magazine, edging out Dave Matthews of the Dave Matthews Band. And later in that same year, in Guitar World's Best Blues category, Chris finished fourth behind Eric Clapton, Buddy Guy, and B.B. King. Chris is often referred to as the heir apparent to his home state predecessor, Stevie Ray Vaughan, which Chris shrugs off.
And once again, Stu, thank you very much for having us here.
It is so good to have you here. You brought the whole band with you.
I think we make a better representation when we come full on at you.
I just want to let all our listeners in Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York, and even out on Long Island, I want them to know that today is a day off for you. This is the day you wash the socks and get caught up on baseball and NASCAR and stuff like that.
I did watch the Sox, and I watched them win. All right, go Sox.
You took the day to come here and be with us tonight.
Well, of course, our motto in this band is the more famous you get, the less sleep you get. So that's just the way it goes. When you got to do promotion, you got to do it. And that's all there is to it.
What is your reaction to being so heavily compared to Stevie Ray Vaughan all the time?
I don't. It doesn't bother me a bit, you know. And I mean, I personally don't want the chair, but it's just I don't think I'm a Stevie clone or anything like that, which would be the bad part of it. You know, I'm honored and humbled to be compared to a legend as Stevie, and he's one of my heroes. But I think the negative aspect is always a Stevie clone, you know. And, you know, I pull confidence in my own musicianship to know that I'm not a Stevie clone.
I've never really read a bad review of any of your albums. There's one recurrent theme that runs in a lot of reviews, and a lot of reviewers say that you don't ever stick to one formula. And you once said, and I quote, that one of the staples of critics is that they don't see direction. When an album is all over the place, they generally don't like that. They feel an artist is best suited to bring all his talent to bear in one area. Do you let the reviews affect you?
No, not after the first album, because in the first album, when you're thrust under that big microscope and you're squashed down between those plates of glass, you know, it feels kind of intimidating. Because, I mean, actually, the first record in Guitar World, Don McLeese, who was in Austin, wrote for them, and he wrote a little 2-paragraph review, and first paragraph was a little glowing, the second paragraph was just slapping me around, you know, guitar wind-up toy and stuff. But it was cool, you know, it's no problem. You know, you just got to bring your tough skin suit to this business, and you can't let it get to you. If you do, then for sure the second record, you're going to be saying, oh, I got to write this one single, and I have to do what the people say, and before you know it, you're totally lost, and then the second album spins out of control, and it's, you know, it's not good at all.
Well, one perfect example of a worldwide, well-known, famous musician that never sticks to a formula, never mind from album to album, but from song to song on an album, is Jeff Beck.
Oh, Jeff, and one of my heroes, too. That's another one of my heroes. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I've played along with the Blow by Blow album and the Wired album. And even his new album's great. I mean, but see, that's the thing. Jeff is moving with the times. You listen to back to Blow by Blow and all that. It's cool. It's funky. It's of the era. But now you listen, he's using, samplers. He's using loops. He's keeping up with the times. He's moving. He's evolving. That's how you're going to survive. People were lamenting that Robin Trower can't tour anymore because he can't get the support. Well, because Robin Trower hasn't evolved. Yes, he's a good guitar player, but, you need to kind of move with the times if you want to keep surviving. Music is changing. You can't do anything about it. If the traditionalists want to hear the traditional music, that's cool. You can go hear it. But music is going to keep evolving, and you got to get with it.
So you're going to hang around with us tonight, right?
Oh, yeah. We're here until you kick us out.
We've got John on bass. We've got Ed over there on drums. We'll get to them in a little bit. You've brought 2 guitars. You got a hollow body, and I think I saw a Strat somewhere.
Yeah, I got my old number 1 here, my Strat.
Coming up, I got those details on how you can win those tickets for Eric Sardinas at Black Eyed Sally's. And up next, too, I got Backyard Blues on The Rock, 106.9 WCCC.
John, I met a guy who earns over $70,000 a year.
Monday Night Football with Hooters and The Rock, 106.9 WCCC. I think we have a football fan in the studio. It's Chris Duarte.
Yeah, I'm a football fan. I'm a sports fan.
We had the baseball game on here earlier. Did your team win?
I want to see Roger get another ring, Roger Clemens. But, it just gets boring when all they do is win. And I want to see some parity, that's what I want to see.
Chris Duarte and his group are in town. They played Theodore's up in Springfield last night. I guess that showing pretty good, Chris?
Yes, it went very well. I was very impressed with the crowd. We kind of determined this band collectively, Springfield ruled. And so now we want to get into Hartford.
A lot of people in the Hartford area, the last time they remember seeing you was about 10 years ago over at the Sting over in New Britain, the strip club next door.
Oh, yeah.
And from the dressing room out back, you could look down and see the strippers.
Like I said, I went over there just for the novelty of it because I don't know of any other club that I've ever played where the backstage people are privy to getting over into the strip club.
So, Chris, you grew up in San Antonio, and in 1979, you were only 16 years old. You moved out on your own, and you headed to Austin, Texas. You were a serious jazz fan at the time.
Yeah.
And you soon fell under the spell of the blues. At 16, how did you manage to just leave San Antonio and head off to Austin?
A friend gave me a ride up there. And then I had a friend that I went to high school with who was a bass player, and I shared an efficiency apartment with him.
You went there specifically to play music.
Yeah, I wanted to play music. I wanted to be a guitar player.
How did you make that leap of faith to leave home and just go do that?
I just wanted it. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do ever since I was 13 years old, and I had it in me. I knew I had something special because I just seemed to pick up things a lot more faster. It just seemed to come to me more naturally than all my other guys. I couldn't believe they just couldn't pick up a song real fast. I'd say, well, here's the chords, you got them, and you know what the song goes like. I mean, how come you can't play it? So I realized maybe I got something. So that's when I said, well, I'm going to take lessons. I'm going to start to read music. And now I'm going to play all kinds of music. So if somebody wants a country guy, I'll be there. If somebody wants a blues guy or whatever. Then I sort of focused in on blues because I had the opportunity to be in a blues band at the age of 17. I was in a jazz band first, but at the age of 17. But then right around my later 17, I got in a Texas blues band, Bobby Mack and Night Train, and we started touring around Texas.
It's Beef Stew, 106.9 WCCC. We're speaking with Chris Duarte. I read that you consider yourself a novice songwriter, and a lot of your songwriting comes from stress that you not only feel in the world, but in your personal life, too. Is songwriting like a form of therapy for you?
I think for us novices, it is, because, until you can just grasp any subject and start writing about it, I think that's truly a gifted thing. It's much easier to write about, your own pain, your own experiences. That's the easiest thing to write about.
Is music a religion for you? Are you spiritual about it?
Yeah, I am spiritual about it. I'm spiritual about when I play. I can be in the worst shape, and when I get up and play it, it all kind of goes away. I do need that live performance. I do need to play in front of people, and I just love what I do, That's why we put up with all the stuff in between, the driving, the terrible hours, coming on to radio shows, although we love it. Sometimes they're not great shows. We've been on terrible radio shows, and you just deal with it because you get to play, And the way we play, we're not like some cover band playing the exact same thing every single night. We try to go with the feel of a jazz improvisational band, and we listen to each other. It's just a trio, so there's a lot of freedom involved.
Well, you have a huge fan base around the world. This cloud of myth follows you wherever you go. People will come up to me and they go, hey, what's up with Chris Duarte? Is he off drugs? What about that accident he was in?
I don't mind that, and I think that's just some perception that's grown, but I think a lot of people that do know me. I'm just a regular guy, and I'm totally approachable. whatever, whatever it takes to get people talking. I don't care.
As long as they talk, right?
That's what you need.
You said that you're just an ordinary guy, but that you have a gift. Where did the gift come from?
I don't know. Blame it on Fiddler on the Roof. That's what kind of made me want to play.
Yeah, you were a kid watching TV and you saw Fiddler on the Roof.
When it came on TV, its network premiere, I guess, in the 70s, and when the very opening scene, there's that guy. I mean, I just thought it was just too cool. I thought it was too cool. And I wanted to play violin first. And the school said, no, we got a clarinet. You want a clarinet? And I told my mom. My mom was like, nah, I don't think so. But the seed had been planted. And then my brother got a guitar, and I said, I want to play guitar. So I was constantly picking his guitar up.
How old were you when that happened?
I was, when the Fiddler on the Roof thing happened?
Exactly.
Probably 7.
It's Beef Stew, 106.9 WCCC. We're speaking with Chris Duarte. We're going to be talking to him a little bit more, but coming up in just moments, he's going to be playing live for us inside Sunday Night Blues on The Rock, 106.9 WCCC.
Are you one of those people that says,
I never win anything?
It's your better banking connection.
It's Sunday Night Blues on The Rock, 106.9 WCCC. Beef Stew with you. Chris, why don't you just introduce the players for us?
Okay, on bass, we have Mr. John Jordan. On the drum, we have Mr. Edward Sterling Miles. Okay, we're going to play the big single off the first album, the song that brought us to the international stage. Here you go, people. You know it.
It's The Rock, 106.9 WCCC. Live, Chris Duarte right there, My Way Down. Chris, that is the song off your 1994 Texas Sugar Strat Magic. That's the one that brought you to rock radio back in 1994.
Yeah, that's the one. And it's still the one that garners the most attention and stuff right now. And hopefully we can write another one that puts out just as much attention. But, I mean, I'm real proud of that song.
This album sold about 100,000 copies.
Oh, it sold more than that. Probably about up to 150, 170.
Which, by rock standards is a dismal failure, but by blues standards is a runaway success.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And this was when you were label mates with Buddy Guy on Silvertone.
Well, I mean, there's another reason. I mean, Silvertone is a big label. They like to keep this small label image, but they are a big label. There's Zomba, that's Britney Spears and all those people. So we did have the advantage of being on a big label, which they can force things to. I mean, it's a business out there. But then the geographics of radio changed, and it's just harder to get into that rock radio.
Speaking of the geographics of radio, because this was back in the day when, like, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Johnny Lang in 1996, they were still able to get FM airplay.
Right.
And, you were kind of in that. But I have to ask, because you're friends with Kenny Wayne Shepherd, right?
Yeah. Friends with both those guys.
You once said that you were waiting for Kenny to come out of the box, and you also said that his playing is boring, unoriginal, and droll.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. It is. It's because he's sounding too much like Stevie. I don't want to hear Stevie. I want to hear Kenny. Kenny's a great kid, good player, but as far as his playing goes, it sounds like he's still doing just what his idol does. I think he's out touring with ZZ Top or something, and he's got Tommy and Chris out there with him. There you go, taking another step. He's taking Stevie Ray's rhythm section. Music is so endless. It's so expansive. You can go wherever you want to go, and I'm just waiting to see what Kenny can do, and I haven't seen anything. I'm sorry.
Beef Stew, 106.9 WCCC, speaking with the Chris Duarte Group. You going to do another one for us?
I'm going to do another one. We're going to do the title cut off that new song, the new album called The Romp. Yeah, now, babe, let's do the romp.
It's The Rock, 106.9 WCCC. Live romp, Chris Duarte Group. That's the title track from your brand new one.
Yeah. they're selling briskly at the gigs.
You're selling a ton of them. I was talking to John Kane at Rounder, and he said he just had to ship you a whole boatload more because you're running out of them at gigs.
Oh, yeah. Things are going pretty good. It's going good. Well, we'd like to see our record company get out there and get the distribution because, like we said, we did our own little test here in town, and we didn't even find Romp here in town.
Yeah, you went to some of the record stores, I guess you call them.
Yeah, record stores, right. That's what I like to call them. I still call them a record store. Yeah, they didn't have Romp.
And you said Tinsley Ellis had his own slot, but you don't.
I don't have my slot. Come on,
What's
man.
up with that crap
I don't
anyways?
know what is up with that? I don't know. It's all business, man. Maybe somebody's been paid or something.
I read it in an interview that you did with somebody else that you said that back in Austin, it was hard to fight your addiction because really all you had to do was pick up the phone and have it delivered to your door.
Oh, yeah.
How tough was it for you to kick the habit?
It's always tough, man. It's tough every time. There's been times I haven't been completely sober, too, falling off the wagon, It's just something you have to deal with It's something I'm going to have to deal with the rest of my life. But I feel good. I feel good now. I feel good with my boys. Things are going really well, and I'm back on track for world domination and conquest.
Tell me about your wife, Patricia. I mean, she was there during your darkest hours.
Yeah, she was. She kind of really helped me dig out of it and stuff. And she kind of supported me. And I moved to Houston and started going to all the meetings and stuff and started doing the right thing. And then you have this huge pile of trash there. You just got to get to work on it, start cleaning it up.
Is Patricia from Colombia?
No, her mom's from Colombia.
Okay, she has relatives, and you went on a trip down there.
Yeah, we went to Bogota.
And while you were there, you produced a record for another artist.
Actually, no, that's not exactly right. That's a little. I went there for a personal vacation to see family, but I went to Brazil and produced a record for Fernando Noronha and Black Soul in Porto Alegre. Now it's Portuguese down there, so it's it's como está instead of como está, como está, and boa noite.
Chris, you have a website, ChrisDuarteGroupFans.org.
That is the official one.
And you go to Chris's website, there is an enormous library. Your fans are, they're fanatical. I don't know what other artist has as many bootleg recordings by your fans out there, spanning about 10 years?
Yep, could be, more. I know there's probably some people have shows from the 80s and stuff when I was in other groups,
Well, Mike the Squid here went online, and he was able to come up with a 13-and-a-half-minute version of Voodoo Blues that was recorded live in Austin, Texas on October 1st, 1999. He also found an 11-and-a-half-minute version of Sunshine of Your Love that somebody recorded in some bar down in Dallas, Texas on December 2nd, 1998. And we found an 8-minute version of Killing Floor that we don't know where it came from.
You never know what I'm going to play each night, and sometimes my guys don't know what I'm going to drag out of the old cellar. Some song we haven't played for years. Some song maybe Ed's never even heard us play. But he's a great drummer and he gets through it all.
You've been through like 13 drummers in just about as many years. What do you do to drummers?
We just grind them up, chew them up, but for some reason, Ed is, I think, going to be here for a while.
You got to keep him for a while?
We hope he stays. We think Ed's one of the best drummers we've had in this band. We really do.
Cool.
And we've had some really good drummers. Brandon Temple, Frosty Smith. I mean, we've had some really good players, but, Ed just seems one of the more musical. Plus, he's a hell of a funny guy.
It's Beef Stew, 106.9 WCCC. We are with Chris Duarte. Do you have time for one more tune?
Yeah, man, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do one that's kind of unusual for us to do. I'm going to play Shiloh, just a version of a little minor blues thing. And I heard we did this once in Toronto on the radio, and it really came off well. So I want to see if we can just get that good old magic feeling again here. We're just going to start off quiet, boys.
It's The Rock, 106.9 WCCC. Live, Chris Duarte Group. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you, Hartford, for hanging in there with us. And we think we have the best fans in the world. Thank you.
Looking at John's bass over here, that's got like 8 strings on it.
Only 7.
Oh, 7? Okay. 7-string bass.
He's had those things for, when did you get the first one? Like what, 95? 92? That long ago, 92. And people still gawk at it. It's still a huge...
Look how wide the neck is.
I know. I feel like I'm holding an Oscar when I put that thing in my hands. I have no idea what to do with it.
It is the Rock 106.9 WCCC, a live Chris Duarte group. His new album is called Romp. It's on Rounder Records. This one's still available, right? Love is Greater Than
they're
Me.
all available.
They're all available. Tailspin, Headwhack, Texas Sugar, Strat Magic.
That's right.
From 94 to 2003, 4 albums right there.
That's right. There you go, people. All out there.
I want to give away an autographed copy of your disc.
Okay.
And to keep you in good company, I'm also going to throw in a copy of the latest B.B. King. So let's toss that out right now. We'll take call 6 at 525-WCCC. And then, while we're loading out the equipment, how about we take some phone calls offline? If you want to speak to Chris Duarte, 525-WCCC.
Hey, no matter what you ride, Trantolo and Trantolo, your personal injury attorneys.